Hi, Geometry B. I hope everyone's doing well and keeping warm. Today's video, I'm actually going to go over a review of interior and exterior angles of a polygon. So what I have up on my screen right now is the worksheet you're supposed to do as homework for tonight. I'm actually going to go through the formula review at the top with you and then go through not quite half of the problems, but solve quite a few of them for you, and you'll have to finish the remainder on your own. For your homework, you will have to come in with a fully completed worksheet. So you're welcome to fill in the problems as I'm solving them with you and then complete the rest on your own. But just a quick, I promised in yesterday's video, if you watched it, to go over the homework. So homework from 6.3 tests for polygons, which you should have done yesterday. These are the answers for them. You are welcome to pause the video if you'd like to look at the answers for these and just double check your work. I have put in a completed solutions here. So again, I'm moving on. So pause the video now if you want to see these. All right, moving on to the next set. If you have any questions about these solutions, please send me an email. Again, pause the video now if you want to take a closer look at any of these problems. Otherwise, I will be moving on to the next set. All right, I'm scrolling down just a little more. And that is everything. So again, if you want to pause the video, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I am going to continue with the 6.1 review now. Okay, so going back to 6.1, 6.1 was just solving for interior and exterior angle measures of polygons and sides of polygons. There's some formulas that we use to do those. First one, the sum of the interior angles of a polygon, which is often referred to as just a capital S, is n minus 2 all times 180 degrees. So what is n? Well, if you don't recall, n equals the number of sides of a polygon. So for a quadrilateral, which is a four-sided figure, n would equal 4. The interior angles of a regular polygon, so that is each, not the sum, but each interior angle of a regular polygon. Well, I guess to answer that, you'd have to ask yourself, what is a regular polygon? A regular polygon is a polygon which is equilateral and equal angular. What does equilateral and equal angular mean? It means all the sides are congruent and all the angles are congruent. So in the side, a four-sided or a regular quadrilateral would be a square, because all the side lengths and all of the angles are congruent. All right, so back to the formula. To find each interior angle of a regular polygon, you find the sum of the angles and then you divide just by the number of sides. If you prefer the whole formula, the formula for finding the sum of the angles, again, is n minus 2 times 180, and I divide that whole thing by n. It looks kind of messy, but it's just plugging into your calculator, not too bad. The sum of the exterior angles of any polygon is always 360 degrees. Doesn't matter if it's a four-sided figure, if it's an octagon, if it's a 22-gon or a 575-gon. The sum of the exterior angles is always the same, and it's 360 degrees. So if I wanted to find each exterior angle of a regular polygon, I just take that 360 degrees and divide by the number of sides. Vice versa, if I want to find the number of sides of a regular polygon, again, I take that 360 degrees, and instead of dividing by n, I divide it by each exterior angle measure. Notice that is exterior angle measure, not interior angle measure. All right. Starting with number 1. What is the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a pentagon? The first thing you need to ask yourself in all of these problems you're going to have to do is how many sides does the figure have? Well, a pentagon has 5 sides. So 5 minus 2 times 180. And I do type that into my calculator exactly as that looks. 5 minus 2 times 180, and that equals 540 degrees. If at any time you needed to do the work yourself, if you had any questions, you're welcome to pause the video, rewind the video, do whatever you need to as we go along. I'm just going to keep working. All right. Continuing on, I'm going to do number 3 for you. 3 asks, what is the measure of each interior angle of a regular octagon? Same question, how many sides does the figure have? And I hope you know that an octagon has 8 sides. So in this one, I'm actually going to use that second formula to find each interior angle of a regular polygon. And again, we have a regular octagon. So I can either find the sum of the interior angles separately, or I can do it in one step. I'm going to do that formula in one step. So the sum of the interior angles is 8 minus 2 times 180, and I need to divide that whole thing by the number of sides, which is 8. And I can put that in the calculator exactly as it looks. So I'm going to hit Control and divide to get a fraction there. And I'm going to put 8 minus 2. And I'm going to multiply that by 180. And then I'm going to divide that by 8. And my answer is 135. And again, that is degrees. Number 5. 5 asks for gives you the angles of a hexagon. A hexagon is a 6-sided figure, if you don't remember. And 5 of the 6 angles are 119, 129, 104, 139, and 95. What is the measure of the 6th angle? 1, 2, So I've drawn, not a regular, but a 6-sided figure here. And they give me 5 of the angles, 119, 129, 104, 139, 95, and that last one is X. How would I find that angle? Well, I can find the sum of all of them. Sum of the interior angles equals n minus 2. Times 180, and if I plug that in my calculator, find that 720 degrees. Now I can take 720 degrees and just subtract off all the rest of those angles. And that should give me X. Or you could set up a formula that says 720 equals X plus and all of those numbers and solve for X. Really puts you in the same spot. I can plug it in my calculator exactly as that looks. 720 minus, and I'm going to put in parentheses all of my angles. 119 plus 129 plus 104 plus 139 plus 95. Oops. And I find that my remaining angle is 134 degrees. If I wanted to double check that, I could add up all 6 of the angles. So 119 plus 129 plus 104 plus 139 plus 95 plus 134, and that should equal 720, which it does. All right, moving on, I'll do number 6 actually next. The sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 1,620. Sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 1,620. We have a formula for the sum of the interior angles of a polygon. They want to know how many sides. In other words, you're just taking that and you're solving for n. The first step I would do is divide by 180. And I get n minus 2 is equal to 9. Add 2 to both sides, and I get n equals 11, or this is an 11-sided polygon. Sorry about that flip there. I'm going to skip past 7, 8, and 9. Just a hint on 8 and 9, you're going to want to look up at your formula sheet again, so we'll scroll up there again. You're going to be looking at probably these three: sum of exterior angles, each exterior angle, and the number of sides of a polygon. We're going to actually use a couple of those to do one problem I've made up myself, and number 10. So if I wanted to find each exterior angle of a 10-sided figure, well, I know that the sum of all of the exterior angles is always 360 degrees. And if I divide that by the 10 sides, that means each exterior angle of a regular polygon is 36 degrees. So in order to complete this, I really would need to know that that is a regular pentagon. For number 10, moving on to that, if the exterior angle of a regular polygon measures 9 degrees, so I have an exterior angle of 9 degrees of a regular polygon, how many sides does it have? Same idea as the last problem. In this case, I have 360 degrees total. And if I divide that by 9 degrees for each exterior angle, I end up with 40 sides. All right. I'm going to skip on to number 14 for you now. Of 12 and 13 have pretty similar idea to the one on the front sheet that we did. Pretty similar to number 5. 5 just didn't have a diagram. 14, a little more complicated. 14 is asking us to solve for x in a 6-sided figure. Well, those are the interior angles of a 6-sided figure, and we do have a formula to find the sum of the interior angles. That is n minus 2 times 180. And that is 720 degrees is the sum of the interior angles for a for a 6-sided figure. Oh, now I could set a formula up where I have 720 equals, and I could sum up all of those angles. 8x minus 1 plus 5x plus 36 plus, and you may remember that's pretty long. There's actually a simpler way, and I said you might want to add up all of your variables first. So 8x plus 5x plus 7x plus 6x is actually 26x, and then add up all of your constants. And those numbers add to 278, and then solve for x. I'll let you finish that on your own. Number 15, again, very similar idea, but that is a 4-sided figure. 16, just a little hint for you guys. You're going to want to find the sum of the interior angles for that 10-sided figure. And you're going to want to find each interior angle. So you're going to want to take that sum that you just found and divide that by the number of sides. That is 10. And that should equal that angle there. So set that equal, solve for x. And finally, in number 17, you were looking at the sum of the exterior angles. Take care.